Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Loki, Heart of the TVA. And I really didn't enjoy this episode. There were some core ideas and concepts that I liked that they kind of explored, but overall it was just not well executed, and definitely I would hold this one up as an example of a movie being chopped up into 6 bits, and finding like the waiting game of things have to happen, or the plot demands that things have to happen to continue things going forward. So we start off with the reveal that Renslayer worked with He Who Remains, and that he betrayed her and wiped her memories and everybody else at the TVA. Essentially, it looked like He Who Remains gathered like an army of variants and used them in the war against the other Kangs, and created the sacred timeline and everything like that. Pretty much stuff that we had either already figured out or pretty much had a good idea of what was going on and how that kind of happened. Again, it's how the execution of it goes. Ms. Minutes pretty much just plays back this fucking audio recording of like, yes, look, we don't really need this, dummy. You were their general and everything. It's like, then why the fuck were you going for him? Like, it's all good to be a general of the army, but if you don't know how the fucking tech works, because that becomes pretty much the Achilles heel of Renslayer and Ms. Minutes, even though she's the fucking AI and should know how this shit works, evidently Kang and his variants are the only ones that know how this shit works, unless you get into the Ouroboros fucking thing, and that reveal was just goddamn, oh my god, just, again, execution did not work. So her whole thing in this is essentially trying to take over the TV. It's like, I'm gonna have the power now, I'm gonna have the order and everything. It's like, oh my god. And that doesn't mean jack fucking shit when the whole thing's about to blow the fuck up. Literally, it is the dumbest fucking move. Like, granted, I can understand people being like, things are falling to shit, the sky is falling, the earth is dying, I'm gonna go for a kind of power play. Sure, I understand that, but this is like doing it next to a goddamn nuke that's about to blow up in your fucking face. And it's just like, okay, I would almost be like, sure, you're gonna be king of the hill for like 2 seconds before we get fucking atomized. How about them apples, bitch? It's, the level of stupidity, like, needed to be balanced out, because we see that B-15 talks with the judge to try and figure out a way forward. They don't want to kill Dox and her followers and want to go about a better kind of way. The judge being like, hey, listen, you changed my mind with your words. Why don't you go in there and figure out what kind of common ground you've got? And again, nice in potential. It's the execution of there's not enough time, and funnily enough, not enough time and not enough devoted to actually going on to this concept and exploring it, because we see that Bradley's trying to be like, they're just gonna kill us, we need to get the fuck out of here. It's like, you betrayed us, you dumb fuck asshole. Is like, yeah, I did. And then B-15's like, listen, I know you love the TVA and I know you like to protect and you want to protect this. We have the same goals, we just need to work on how this kind of works. And Doc seems receptive and everything, but then Renslayer's like, be my army, and Dox is like, fuck you, and Bradley's like, I want to live on the sacred timeline, and then she just kills them all. She like went in to try and get an army and immediately just only gets the Bradley fucking dude. It's just like, whatever. So while this is going on, we also see that Timely gets in and is trying to figure out kind of what's going on. He's like, give me some information. It's like, oh, okay. Your temporal loom, it's about to blow the fuck up. Can you kind of come down and kind of help us with this shit? He's like, oh, okay, cool. And when they've explained it to him, he's like, all right, let's kind of go in there. He geeks out by learning about Ouroboros. Of course, the whole snake of the tail thing, snake eating its own tail, is He Who Remains made the TVA guidebook and was written by Ouroboros, and then of course that was thrown to Victor Timely. He's like, oh, okay, they wanted to sign it. It's like, can we kind of fix this? Ouroboros that explains that there's shit, they need a throughput multiplier and everything. Is like, hey, I kind of got this, let's try and fix this. And they essentially get to working on this. And then Mobius is like, hey, how about we kind of go for some pie or whatnot. Sylvie's like, why the fuck are we going for pie and all that kind of shit? Granted, I would understand that reaction if Sylvie, Loki, and Mobius could do anything. They did their job of getting Timely to the other people to try and figure out a way to fix this, i.e. using his temporal aura to get close to the loom and to utilize his throughput multiplier to fix what they're trying to do to make sure that it can handle all the influx of the new and branching timelines. And I'm just like, do you know how this shit works? Does Mobius? And like going at him for not going to his timeline and trying to protect it and everything is like, he's literally attempting to do that right now. Like, her attack vector on this makes no goddamn sense in the slightest. I mean, you can kind of get a tangential kind of thing, but I'm like, he's literally trying to help the people now. Like, Mobius, Loki, and B-15 have been trying to create a new status quo with the TVA. I don't know, it's kind of weird that somebody who fucking killed somebody and then just went and fucked off and let things go as they did, wouldn't know that shit. And then, of course, she accidentally finds the pie place, and then we get her talking with Loki, where we get this pretty much philosophical argument of, like, she wants to burn the stuff down, and Loki wants to try and fix what's already there. Granted, it's very binary and not really that well argumented out, both dialogue-wise and how they're kind of talking about certain kind of stuff. Like, Loki really hasn't done much to change the structure of the TVA, but then again, that's not really been devoted. It's more set up that he's doing the right and Sylvie's doing the wrong, and granted, I'm alright with that. However, sometimes you do need to raise down a system because of certain kind of corruption and everything. Loki has lucked out on that kind of thing going through this. I mean, granted, he had one uprising with Docs, and they fucking handled it even though they nuked out branching timelines. The thing is, we haven't seen him actively being devoted to working and trying to make things better. Again, we only get 6 episodes, i.e. a movie chopped up into pretty much 6 parts. But I do like that this is here. Again, it's the execution. We get into Sylvie not killing Victor Timely, mainly because she saw the fear, and maybe there was fear in He Who Remains, and her questioning her actions and everything. And Loki being like, yes, I'm hoping. I'm more of an optimist in this kind of thing. But you can't just give people free will and then just drop the shit and be like, oh shit, we got people trying to be kind of assholes and destroying the timeline and being the TVA of the past. Well, then you should be there to pretty much try and guide it for the future and whatnot, and have things worked out in that way. Sylvie didn't do that. I wish Loki would hammer on that more. Sylvie hammers on him for being like, hope the TVA won't fuck up and do the same old shit that it's been doing, and just going on that kind of thing. She's like, we're not God. Like, sounds like you're playing God. Like, they're playing gods. There's like, we are gods. And it's like, I think that we're supposed to get a little bit more out of that. It's like, yes, Loki and Sylvie are gods, but the thing is, you get to a point where people, when you do free will and you talk about it like that, everyone's pretty much a god with what can be decided, because every action has ramifications and consequences of what's going on and what's going forward. Sylvie killed He Who Remains, unleashing all of the branching timelines, creating the whole kind of loom scenario that everybody doesn't really fucking just get much onto to actually deal with. So Ms. Minutes starts kind of fucking around with everything. We get the dumbest plot demands I've ever fucking had. They're trying to do the throughput multiplier, put it into the thing and kind of work it, but then Timely learns about hot chocolate from a machine and he must go and check it out. So, what's his name? Well, number D90 takes him to the hot cocoa machine, and he's like, oh, this is cool. Gives it to him, he drinks it, then he gets pruned by Bradley, and then captured by Bradley, and taken to Renslayer and Ms. Minutes for fuck all reason. They kind of want his prototype or whatnot, but I'm like, they're already working on the prototype to fix the situation. You have the same goals, at least in that kind of realm. Why in the fuck did you take him from his work and what's going on? Just to be like, oh yeah. And of course, they're trying to figure out how to get her out of the system, so Ouroboros just pretty much reboots this stuff. It fucks over Ms. Minutes, and that resets everything, and also allows magic in there. So Sylvie is able to enchant Bradley. Bradley prunes Renslayer. They get Timely out of there. It's like, alright. They get down. Everything's kind of going crazy ass motherfucking shit. Loki prunes himself, and that took so much longer than it should have. I.e., he doesn't prune himself here, but the past version that popped up as they were trying to get back to get Timely and get everything kind of set back up. So that gets rectified. They get them down there. Loki is planning to go out, but Timely's like, no. They scan him, they get him, and he's like, I'm going to go take it out, I'm going to do this. And it's really kind of cool to see him step up and see how his kind of character works out. It's kind of crazy that he's only been in here a short time, but they do a very good job with his character. One of the highlights of what's kind of going on here. Well, however, the radiation's too much. He pretty much tries to go out, but is immediately instant-nuked, and then the loom shit explodes, and that's where the episode ends. No tease, no anything. It's like, alright, let's kind of see how this fucking shit goes. How, without the temporal loom, how the universe kind of works and twists and everything, and if the TVA got completely and utterly destroyed. It's really kind of weird that I kind of don't care. Like, I like Loki and his character and what we've seen him kind of grow to a heroic kind of character, but also seeing his other kind of shades, because there's a difference between Loki talking with Sylvie and his understanding and trying to be a good person, and then him kind of egging Bradley on in the dark when they're able to use their powers, and he goes into villainous Loki voice. Tom Hiddleston just cracks on it. My biggest problems with this series is not the actors themselves. It's what they're content-wise given, which is not good. And direction on what's kind of going on, because pacing is just all over the place. There's actual just dead spots in the episode where I'm bored and I'm just like, can we do something here? Now, granted, I don't mind quiet moments, but I'm just talking about where nothing's really happening and people are just talking to fill time. And if you know how to pace a TV show properly, you don't have those things. I want to like this because the TVA, the multiverse, all this kind of stuff can work out and be very well done and gripping when executed well, but the execution is just blah. And I do like that we've been hearing that Disney is now going, hey, we kind of need more people that know and do TV and to do these as TV shows. That is what I've heard and seen, at least reports on there. Granted, I have no sources, I have no verifications on that, but I've heard that they are retooling the Daredevil show. So hopefully that works out in some kind of way and we get better quality and better character content and just content in general. So always take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt. Like, you need multiple sources verified and everything going on with them. Be like, okay, cool. But this is episode 4 out of 6, and I at least had better kind of balancing act of the first season. This is just like, oh my god, I'm a Marvel fan. I want to be able to look into and watch all these different kind of things because I love diving into all the different kind of aspects of comics, the shows, the movies, all that kind of stuff. And this is just painful. This is the most painful one when the first season of Loki was one of the examples of okay, it's got issues, but if you fix it, you're alright. And then Hawkeye, it was like a Christmas movie show kind of thing that worked out even with its problems. And then there are the varying degrees of what was going on with every other show, mostly being hey, these aren't being really done like shows, the pacing's everywhere, what the fuck's going on, oh my god. So we'll see what the next episodes bring, what goes on. We've already lost Victor Timely. We might have lost everybody else, but of course there's 2 episodes left. There's got to be something that brings them back or just scatters them across various different timelines or whatnot. I don't know. We'll see how this works out. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.